spotlight. If I'm spotlighting, you could all still see each other. But it helps me just stay focused, and I'll share my screen and I'll give you the text as well. So we're just having a little start here, but we will definitely get started in just a moment while I get my correct sheet up for everybody. Copy. Okay, and all right. Let's see what's happening here. Put this in the Zoom. Okay, so let's begin. Here is the sheet from Safaria. And Bivakasha, go ahead, everybody. Tell us where you're from and a blessing that you would like to share with everyone this morning would be fantastic. And are you able to see this source sheet? Yeah, it's December Kislev Reflection and Meditation Session 1. Is that what you're seeing? Yes, perfect. Okay. All right. And I'm hearing a lot of the ding-donging. So are you all hearing that as well? No, when people come in? Okay. Then I won't worry about that. Okay. So we have 40 friends here to begin, and it's 9:34. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Shalom Aleichem, everyone. It is what a privilege to continue our sacred space. We see our friends from all over the country and maybe sometimes all over the world. So shalom from near and from far. Bruchim habayim and welcome. Today's session is going to be focused on light. Okay, we have a 3-part series on meditation and reflection and focusing on the texts that highlight for us the notion of light, of being light, of seeing light, and being co-creators of light in this world. Of course, the reason to do that now is because we are in December, which also coincides with Kislev this year, having the combined holidays, the conflation, not conflation of coming together, but simultaneous observance of Christmas and Hanukkah, both on the same night, which is fascinating when that happens. It just gives us a little extra oomph as a global community to recognize that we are all lamp lighters and we all have the opportunity to bring light into the world. So, and that's why for the next 3 weeks, I'd like to give us a little bit of material, source material to reflect on and think about what it means to be light. I'm going to go ahead and share, and Zach, if you could share this text if people are asking for it later, and we'll go ahead and begin. So we'll look at a few sources, and then we'll go into our meditation for the remainder of time that we have today. So session 1, being the light and the co-creator of miracles. I'm loving this. So Psalm 36, to anchor ourselves this morning in the sacred literature of Psalms that we're so familiar with from our My Jewish Learning experiences together. We will focus on one verse or 2 verses from Psalms, a verse from Mishlei, and then we'll move into some material that helps us understand Hanukkah for ourselves, maybe a little more deeply this year. So the first verse that we have here, Ki imcha mekor chayim beorcha nireh or, mishoch chastecha liyodecha v'tzidkatecha liyoshrei lev. With you, God, is the fountain of life. By your light do we see light. That's really the highlight here. In your light do we see light. Bestow your faithful care on those who are devoted to you, and your beneficence on the upright of heart. Liyishrei lev. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous phrase here. The upright of heart. Just focus on that just for a moment. you could already begin a meditative stance or posture using these words. What does it feel like? What does it look like to be embodying the Yishrei Lev, those who are upright of heart, right? So you may even want to just stretch a little bit, create a little bit of openness around the heart center as we allow these words of Torah to come into the heart and to go out of the heart. To be the Yishrei Lev is a very high level. I want you to know that our sages say that the Yishrei Lev are even on a higher level than the tzaddik, than the righteous people. It's the ones who aren't born this way necessarily to be righteous. It's the ones who are striving for it again and again, right? The ones who are creating this posture and coming back into this posture again and again to be those who are upright of heart. Okay, so let's strive, all of us, to enter into that embodiment and to live on that plane of the Yishrei Lev. And we could, I'm sure, have more opportunities to discuss this term just in and of itself. But going back to the light theme, okay, Kimcha mekor chayim, with you is the fountain of life, the psalmist says. And we're looking at Psalm 36, verses 10 and 11. In your light, we see light. We are reflections of light, very much like the moon is a reflection of the light of the sun. And yet the moon has its own mystery and mystique, right? So are we. We're not the light that God is reflecting in this world, but we are reflecting the divine light in this world. So that already is an introduction for us as a posture, as a way to be with our Yishrei Lev, our upright of heart. We can imagine that heart center illuminating and reflecting the light of the divinity in this universe. And it's not just us, and it's not just like I'm doing this work, but you're doing this work. All of us are doing this work, right? And everyone we encounter is also doing, well, maybe they're not doing the work, but they have the ability to do the work. And seeing that we are a reflection of God's light allows us to see that reflection of God's light in others. Right? So that may be a challenge for us today to be thinking about that and looking for that wherever we go, right? That by your light, we see light in every face that we encounter today. In every interaction that we have tonight, can we challenge ourselves to see a reflection of God's light? Okay. So that's a challenge. And you'll let me know next week how that went. Okay. Maybe it's a journaling assignment. Maybe it's just just like a reminder of, what am I doing today? Oh yes. I am reflecting God's light, and I'm looking for that reflection of God's light around me. That could be a kavanah today. Right. The second text to explore here in tandem with this first text is Ner Adonai Nishmat Adam Chofes Kol Chodrei Baten, that the soul of the human is God's lamp. Sorry, it's not the God's lamp, is God's lamp. I reworked that translation, and I'm going to try to say that again properly in Hebrew. Ner Adonai Nishmat Adam. That God's candle is the human soul. God's candle, Ner Adonai, Nishmat Adam, is every one of us. Is every one of us. So thinking about ourselves today, that we're reflecting light, right? We're reflecting that divine light, and God's light, we see light. But also, we are in another way, in a related way, our own little light. Each and every one of us shines, right? Like this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. We are that light, and it comes from this verse, right? Or you could say that it comes from this verse, that we are, each of us, God's light in this world. And that is a big job, right? What does God's light do? What is God's candle, right? It's not just light. It's not just like illumination. This is like very specific to think about, and we'll use this in our meditation, but to be a candle, to be a lamp, to be like a little torch. Beautiful image, right? And what does this lamp do? Like, what is its function? Ner Adonai, to be this candle of God, revealing uh, our most innermost parts, right? This isn't God's innermost part. So his here is really could be our, you know, we can change that. Changing on the fly. So revealing all of our innermost parts. When we see ourselves as a candle, right, that we're not just shining outward, as a tool in God's universe, but we're also exploring our own inside, our own inner world. And that is very much part of the Hanukkah experience of being a light into the world. Right? Some of us, it's easy, just shine out and do your thing. And for others of us, there's a lot of internal illumination that's required, right? Maybe at the same time, finding the light within us in order to be able to shine it out. So that's another challenge for us today. Okay, so for the next few minutes here, I want to explore one of the blessings of the Hanukkah lighting. So if you're unfamiliar, you need help, you want to review, we all have to review every year. What are the blessings for Hanukkah? I have that cited for you down here. You could go and find on My Jewish Learning an article about the Hanukkah blessings, and you can remind yourself how they go, the music of it and so forth, and the words. We're really just focusing on the second one. When we light the candles for Hanukkah, we recite 3 blessings. The first blessing is simply commanding us to light the Hanukkah candles. The second one reflects on saying, praised are you, Lord, our God, ruler of the universe, who performed wondrous deeds for our ancestors at this season. And it goes, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavoteinu, bayamim ha'hem, ba'azman hazeh. Awakening that melody, kind of reaching in and bringing it back out into the world. It's kind of like a special jewel, right, that you keep in a box and you like take it out to wear it just for like special occasions, right? That's that melody. So what is it about this specific blessing that I want to highlight today? God, who performed miracles in those days, and for us, we can say. Well, the third blessing, by the way, is the Shechianu, where we thank God for bringing us to this time, and we only recite that blessing on the third night. But some say, the rabbis say, we should really only say this blessing about thanking God for miracles on the second night and beyond that, because what miracle is there on the first night of Hanukkah, right? The oil that the Maccabees found, and it was only enough to last one day, the Talmud says, but it lasted for 8 days, and that was the miracle, the extension of that light, of that illumination, the time that it took for the Maccabees to find another cruse of oil. So what's so miraculous about the cruse of oil lasting, the minute you light it? That there's no miracle there. So you might think. Okay. So Rabbi Harold Schulweis has a beautiful article on this question, okay, that the rabbis are bringing up. Why are we saying this blessing over the miracle of light on the first night of Hanukkah? What's the reason for it? There's no miracle yet. So he comes to say, the commentators explain the reason we recite this blessing on the first night, and this is how it goes. That there are all kinds of miracles in the world. Creation, for example, is a miracle in which something is created out of nothing, ex nihilo. That's like the creation of the world, right? In Hebrew, yesh me'ayin. But there are other miracles that refer to acts that create out of something, yesh me'yesh. The first night's blessing over the oil that was already present illustrates the second kind of miracle, one where there's a miracle of something out of something. Why? Something sacred occurs out of something ordinary, already existing. And those kinds of miracles require human initiative and activity. Humans cannot create the world out of nothing. The world is given to us. But humans can change the world and shape it according to whatever image is in our heart and minds. And when the transformation is done for the sake of God and goodness, then it's miraculous. So on the first evening of Hanukkah, before that match is struck to light the candle, we're literally in the dark. And when the candle is lit, what happens? Everything that was in the dark, nothing's changed except we can see what was in the dark. They are as they were in the dark, but with an instant illumination, we experience a revelation. In a flash of momentary light, we know where things are, what obstacles to be avoided, something maybe we couldn't figure out when there was no light. Nothing new has been created except for our awareness of the environment. And that gives us greater opportunity to choose, to know where we stand and where to move. So we can make something out of something. That's what we can do. We can make something out of something. Our capacity to discover wonder and signs is a gift for which we offer thanks thrice daily, evening, morning, and noon. We say in our Amidah prayer, Modim anachnu lach, we thank you. Why? Because you grace the human beings with knowledge and give us the power to understand. To understand what? This blessing says, the miracles that God performs for us evening, morning, and noon. We can only perceive those miracles if we choose to turn on the light, as it were, to light that candle, to see differently. And one more piece. The Hebrew word for miracle is nes. Nes, nes. What's a nes in Hebrew? A nes is actually to lift up. It's like a banner that's lifted up, but it comes from the word of, in English, you could say it's a sign. The sign has the same root as significance. Significance. To witness the miraculous is to observe in an ordinary event extraordinary significance. An event so important that it cries to be raised up and celebrated. Whew. So I share all this with you, and it comes from a wonderful, wonderful book that I use every year for Hanukkah. I highly recommend it. It's called A Different Night. A different night or a different light? A Different Light. Yeah, sorry. A Different Light, the Hanukkah book of celebration, edited by one of my mentors and friends, Noam Zion and Barbara Spector. I'm going to stop the share. And let's take a few minutes now to take these ideas into our meditation today. There's so many ideas to use, and we'll kind of bring them all in. So we're focusing here for these next few moments on embodying this experience of light, but also allowing ourselves to open up to a very natural awareness of miracles abounding. They're already there. The light you need to see is already within you and around you. What's required of us is to create that spark, to see a little differently. So an invitation, and I see some of your questions, and we'll come back to that in a little while. So let's hold our chatter while we give ourselves a few minutes here to explore our inner life through these sacred texts. If you haven't already, finding a seated, comfortable position. I'm prompting for seating, although you can walk around, stand, lay down, whatever feels comfortable for you right now. Finding your feet connected to the ground. So important. Grounding ourselves in this day and in this moment. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Allowing an awareness of your full self to unfold before you. It's noticing the breath as it moves through the nostrils, through throat, lungs. Following the inhale and exhale, breathing naturally and easily, So noticing that you're breathing, sometimes a very good first step to bring ourselves into focus. Notice if you're holding on to any tension. Breathe some space into shoulders, facial muscles. Allow any constriction to melt away. With gratitude for the miracle of this moment. Gratitude for the miracle of illumination in this moment. Giving yourself the permission to see into your own light and your own reflection of light. Seeing yourself at the same time as the light and a reflection of light. Giving yourself permission to be that light fully in this world, fully right now. In divine light, we are reflected. We're reflected back to divine light, and we are reflected back to one another. We are radiant, radiant beings. Take these next few minutes on your own, observing breath and feeling yourself as this light, whether you can see it in your mind's eye, dropping down to your heart center to find that light there. And using these few minutes here to shine that light out, reflecting it out as far and as wide or as near and as dear as you'd like. I'll bring us back together in a few moments. Be'orchani re'or, be'orchani re'or, be'orchani re'or, be'orchani re'or, be'orchani re'or. Be'orchani re'or. In your light, we see light, and we are the light that is the candle of God, bringing divine light into this world. And our awareness of being these radiant light beings, the awareness part is truly miraculous. The miracle to know and to see and to be seen, to remind ourselves of this sacred work that in fact we were put here to do. So let's go ahead and conclude our meditation today. Please hand over heart if you'd like, and hand over hand to seal this practice, to keep that light and warmth in our heart space as a reminder that it's always there. We'll conclude with the blessing of peace and wholeness, healing, tranquility for all of us, for all the world, and for the earth itself. Shalom 3 times. Shalom. 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 This concludes our meditation for today. And we'll stop the recording for now. And we look forward to seeing you all next time.